I want to give a special shout out to my patrons, my Bibliosbrand, my Bibliosworn, and my Bibliomancers. Thank you so much for supporting my hobby and passion even more. It means so much to me. Hi everyone, Petrik here. Today's video will be about my favorite smaller booktube channels. I will mention 5 of them, so this will be the 4th time I'm making this kind of video on this channel. If you haven't watched any of my videos on this topic, basically this is where I will give you a recommendation to check out 5 smaller booktube channels with less than 2,000 subscribers. As I constantly mention, one of the reasons why my channel grew in the first place is because bigger booktube channels like Elliot Brooks, Emily Fox, Reagan from Peruse Project, and also Mike from Mike's Book Reviews and more gave me shout out on their channel, and that helps a lot. And I do this kind of video 3 times per year for me to give back to the community. And also, honestly, the best way for me to get recommendations now on Booktube is by watching smaller booktube channels. I mean, don't get me wrong, some popular booktubers definitely help me in increasing my TBR pile, but I think lately, especially lately, most of my TBR increased because I actually watch smaller booktube channels. And of course, thanks to the comments on my YouTube channel that constantly recommend me great books to read. There is nothing wrong, of course, with reading popular books. I mean, I'm doing it too. There's still a lot of books, a lot of popular books that I haven't read. And I also love finding out opinions on books that I've read, whether it's books that I love or books that I disliked. But when it comes to increasing my TBR pile by watching Booktube, I tend to get them from watching smaller booktube channels. So the first one that I want to recommend here is Alex from Tall Guy Reads. Alex recently started his Booktube channel probably about 2 months ago, but before he started his Booktube channel, he messaged me on Instagram about a few months ago. I forgot the exact month, but he told me that I am one of the main inspirations behind him starting his Booktube channel, and that totally made me happy. Seriously, I mean, my Booktube channel inspired other people to make a Booktube channel is, well, that's something amazing. And I'm truly glad that he finally decided to do it because his channel is really great. Just check out his reviews on The Grace of Kings, The Wall of Storms, which I recently reviewed as well, and also his review on The Well of Ascension. He considered The Well of Ascension, the second book in Mistborn trilogy, to be the best of the trilogy, and that's actually an unpopular opinion because many people consider that to be the weakest of the trilogy, which I kind of disagree. I mean, well, if I have to choose, I guess that will have to be the weakest of the trilogy, but I kind of think The Well of Ascension to be as good as The Final Empire, and I think Alex made a great discussion on why The Well of Ascension is his best of the trilogy. Recently, he just reviewed The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu as well, which is one of my favorite sci-fi books of all time. But more than that, I love getting recommendations, and his recent video about historical fiction is so good. I mean, historical fiction is one of my favorite subgenre to read, and I think Alex did such a great job on that video. Do check out his channel, and you know what? That channel name, Tall Guy Reads, is not a joke. He's really tall. His height is actually more than 2 meters. So yeah. The next booktuber I want to recommend is Treebeard's Reviews. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I usually get my recommendations from smaller booktube channels, and Treebeard Reviews is another example why this happened. The best example of this is This World by Terry Pratchett. Now, This World is a very popular fantasy series, and I mean, I have gave it a try plenty of times. I gave it a try on, I think, Guards and also Mort, but I never finished both of them. Somehow I just lost interest in the middle of reading those books. I'm not sure whether this is because I'm in the wrong mood or not, or maybe Terry Pratchett's writing just didn't click with me. So the bottom line is that I kind of felt like maybe Terry Pratchett books or maybe This World is completely not for me. But watching Treebeard Reviews talking about This World definitely kind of sparked my interest in giving This World a try again. And also, I don't always agree with his opinions, but that's okay. What I do know, however, is that even though we disagree, for example, on some opinions regarding The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, which he absolutely loved, I think, I know that with him I could talk about it and discuss with him as civil as possible. And lastly, I'm not gonna lie that his passion for the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio, which is very beloved on Booktube, is one of the reasons why I would definitely give Sun Eater a try within next year. And speaking of Sun Eater, the next booktuber that I want to recommend is Words in Time, Jonathan from Words in Time. So I think you all know already that fantasy is my favorite genre to read. But actually, other than fantasy, I also love to read sci-fi and also historical fiction. And when it comes to sci-fi, Jonathan is really your guy. He reads a lot and recommends a lot of sci-fi books. I definitely recommend you to check out his channel if you love reading sci-fi. And of course, Jonathan, just like Treebeard and Jimmy Nuts and also many other booktubers I know, love the Sun Eater as well. which kind of make me seem so insane that I still haven't read this series even though I own the entire series so far already. Yeah, I know, I will get to them as soon as possible, okay? The latest being next year, I promise. And then the next booktuber I want to mention is Kayla from Kay's Hidden Shelf. There is something about watching Kayla's channel that felt so relaxing. Seriously, just check out one of her reviews. I remember this review by her. It is for Memories of Blood and Shadow by Aaron Jones. Immediately made me put that book into my TBR pile. She did such a great job in reviewing that book, and you know what? She also reviewed a lot of self-published fantasy books. So yeah, I definitely recommend to check out her channel. And again, as I said, watching her channel just feels so relaxing, and I like that. And finally, the last booktuber I want to recommend here is Taylor from Made Between the Pages. Taylor is a booktuber that resides in Japan, and I'm not gonna lie that I love hearing Okairi every time I watch one of her videos. Okairi basically means welcome back or welcome home. And yeah, I love manga, I love anime, and I love Japan. But other than the fact that she lives in Japan and I love watching her vlogs, she is also a great reviewer. Her recent review on Legacy of the Bright Wars by Crystal Matar, which is a book that has been praised so highly by the self-published fantasy community, is so good. She reads a lot of self-published fantasy books as well, which is always a plus for me. And I do believe that her review for Legacy of the Bright Wars will definitely make me check out this book within this year. So yeah, that's it from me today. Do let me know whether you're subscribed to these channels or not. I highly recommend you to check them out. As always, it is up to you to decide whether their channels are for you or not. My next video will be the 4th episode of SFF Spotlight. And as always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.